Hey, welcome everybody, and thanks for visiting the Creation Station Makerspace, located inside the Southeast Steuben County Library in Corning, New York. It's great to have you here. I'll be your tour guide today for this Cricut Design Space tutorial. To prepare, I suggest you register for a free account with Cricut Design Space and download the software so that you can pause this video and practice along our journey. Once you're ready, we'll get rolling along the tracks. You'll open the Cricut Design Space software, and the home page looks something like this. You have a gray ribbon, a little hamburger menu showing you currently we're on the home page. If you click the hamburger menu, you see your name, your profile, several options below, but we'll focus between Canvas and home for the moment. Further along, you have your name. We are the Creation Station here at the library. Your My Projects, this little caret menu, if you drop down, allows you to choose which machine you will be operating. We have the Explore family. You can select a new project here or under My Projects as you scroll down the page below the sales slider. Then you'll see Cricut Access, which is a subscription service that you pay annually or monthly. We have it available at the library, so it is free to users inside the building. But notice that wherever you see this A, you may be zapped with a Cricut fee, so beware and take notice. We have it noted down here on the lower left-hand corner that we are subscribed. You might see a fee on your side for this I Lava You t-shirt, which is a prepared project by either a Cricut professional or someone within the community. If you were to click Make It, we'll give you just a quick preview of what a project will look as you execute it with your cutting machine. You have 3 mats, 3 different colors to work with, to cut out. And if you wanted to continue from here to use that project, you would click Continue, but let's cancel and exit out. You can see further there, just note some details about, really pertinent details about the project there. It's really helpful. Those are great suggestions. But here we want to create a new project. So we already look like we're jumped ahead because we're in projects and we have jumped to Canvas. So hey, just dance between those just to show you. Where if we click New Project, which is in multiple locations, you can find some of these things, certain tools. Now we are on Canvas, okay? So the gray ribbon has changed mildly. Now we have an untitled project. You still see My Projects. Once we start working, we can save this project. And when we are ready and able, this Make It icon button will be illuminated and we can make it, like we saw with that I Lava You t-shirt. Looking on the left-hand column, we have the new, which would be selecting a new project, templates, which are design guides for creating designs on an array of media. These will just be a template. They do not transfer into your design at all when you cut them out on the machine. We'll take a look at that later. Projects we already viewed. Images, the way to insert over 100,000 plus images from the Cricut service. You can insert text here. You can insert shapes, which are all free, including score lines, and then upload images that you prefer. We'll cancel that just momentarily. There is an upper ribbon of tools for manipulating certain layers or design elements, which we'll take a look at. in just a few seconds. And as we scroll over to the right, we have our layers column. And color sync is actually something I never really look at, so we're just not going to talk about it today. Some ways to manipulate your layers, which we have not even added on yet. Let's start adding some project elements. Let's say, oh, one thing I did not note, the most important part. Slice, weld, attach, flatten, and contour. They are grayed out under the blank canvas here, but once we start adding some design elements, we'll see what we can do with those. Okay, so with slice, weld, attach, flatten, and contour, these are 5 basic tools that once you start understanding those, you'll be zipping out designs like a pro with just enough practice. So let's break these all down. Starting with slice. I think of slice basically like a cookie cutter and maybe even an eraser. So let's look at the cookie cutter feature first. I do this simply with some shapes to give you a little sample. So we've thrown on a shape. Before we get into slice at all, let's just look. So here's a shape, an element on the board, on our mat. We can undo and undo everything, even the insert, right? Oh, at some point I said, hey, welcome. Let's insert that star again. When we have it highlighted, we can remove it with that X. We can highlight it. It has anything that is highlighted has the square around it. We can change the color in this upper bar here next to the line type, which is selected as cut. You choose this little gray color and select whichever color you'd like. There, you've got that. And then you can choose, there's some options up here that you can play around with, but I usually work right here, right with the design element itself. You can unlock to change proportions and really view it, rotate things, undo everything, go back to square, edit, paste another, oh, like a previous experience, copy, right click, and paste. You can even do some tricks on these same types of shortcuts with your keyboard. So let's alter this color just so you can see a difference. Shrink it down just a little. Lay it over the other star. And now we'll play with slice. Slice will act as a cookie cutter if only as long as 2 layers and only 2 layers are chosen. So you can draw a window around the 2 layers. If that doesn't work, you can also select the layers by clicking one individually, holding down the control button and your keyboard and selecting another layer in your layers field. Then once you have 2 layers selected, slice becomes available, as do a few other of those pretty cool features. But we're working with slice, so let's click it and see the result in the layers field immediately. You don't see anything on the map, but this slice result you can see, and if you move it over, there it is. So there's your cut star and your 2 duplicated elements, and that's basically like the cookie cutter. Now you can also alter a shape, and let's say we didn't want some element of the star here. So this is where I consider it kind of like an eraser. And I'll use something here. I can even use the star here. However I want to align it. Change the shape a little bit. So you might want to cut that little portion of arrow off. And then I will select the two items by drawing a window around the two. Ooh. I can also right click and weld is, or slice is available there. So let's left click slice and ta-da! There is our slice feature again, where we have removed an element from a layer. So this is where you can start to delete things and see how some neat possibilities begin to arise. This middle star kind of looks like a, makes me think of Transformers for some reason. So slice is a cookie cutter or can alter shapes. So slicing something from a shape or an image. Now let's look at weld. We'll delete this and throw in some more stars. Give it another color. Okay, so we have two different shapes here. Now weld basically melts shapes together. And you have to have multiple layers selected. So let's select these two, line them up this way, and draw a lasso around them, and choose weld. And now they have been melted together, which removes the cut lines between the two. Let me undo that so that you can see the, let's change the color you, right there. So this dark black line would be a cut line without the weld feature. So then these two elements would cut separately. You know, this arrow shape, triangular shape, would cut out of this smaller star, which might not be something you want. So if we weld it, then that line just disappears. And then that is kind of the building option towards creating a pattern. So you can duplicate this shape either up or right in that above the layers column. You can right click and duplicate here, cut, copy, paste, or copy and paste, etc. A few ways to get the job done. So line it up any way you want, lasso the two items together, weld them. That center line disappeared, and now they are one solid pattern. If you wanted to create handwriting, this is a helpful way to make handwriting look more like handwriting when you cut it out. So if we add text and say perhaps welcome. We change the font in the font option up here. And now we'll just take a quick look at that. All fonts are listed under all. System fonts are what's downloaded on your computer or the system you're working on at the moment. And then Cricut fonts are Cricut specific, which you can download. Paying attention to that Cricut Access A, always note that. And let's see if we can point out some fees. Even though we have subscriptions, there are still some fees available there. So just pay close attention if you're choosing fonts in Cricut. I usually stick with system or download something for free. If you want to learn how to do that, just let me know in the comments below. So let's choose a script-like font. I have this Aftergrows, which is downloaded. Now my font is switched to a more script-like font, but the letters are separated. So show you just how to manipulate those letters first, right? join them together, advanced, ungroup the letters. And so you could have chosen letter spacing and tighten up the letters, but that usually doesn't work fast enough for me or to my interest. So by moving them individually, I can make it look more like handwriting. Can also, aside from moving the elements with your mouse, you can move them with your keyboard arrows. Once you've placed everything as you prefer, and you say, hey, that looks like my handwriting or like handwriting, you can then group them together. So they move as one. Now let's change the color to see if you'll see the difference. Well, the difference won't show in the cut lines so apparently as is, but you will see Weld. Let's see. I want to make this so you can see. Make. First off, nothing looks right. So we have to weld to make it all look like one word. But even though I had laid it out in the design canvas platform a specific way, the design, the cutting platform then decides how it wants to lay it out in what it believes is the most efficient way. So things to note, let's cancel that. They're all selected, they are grouped, but let's weld them and they will flatten as one element in this layer. So there is welcome as one layer. And if we make it, it looks like one solid piece with no cut lines in between the letters. So that's another purpose for using Weld. If I had just undid that, just to give you a quick glance, let's duplicate, we'll weld the one. And I can even jump to attach to show you. So you saw with welcome here, right? We welcome. The one that I attached is all attached looking like handwriting, no cut lines in between the letters. The one that I did not, or the one that I welded, looks all laid out proper. The letters that I did not weld or attach do not look proper whatsoever. Let's cancel and talk about attach for a moment. So this element right here is just that group of letters. Now attach basically keeps things as you have it arranged on the mat. Now let's also change all the colors to show you. Say this is that one, and let's say the E is this color. Just change a few letters to show you the color options. So you can do that if you wanted, and that's why the make it and cutting portion separates things. You can do this design stuff and make it, you know, consider all your options. Oops, let's undo that. Oh, redo. Getting carried away and talking. Okay, I just want that W, and let's say I select it right there because I was having trouble on the mat. I selected it in the individually in the layers. Okay, so now attach. I select all of these things. Lasso them together. Say attach, and now the system will keep these things as I want them arranged in the mat. but it also assumes that I want them in the same color. So, ta-da. And it also chose the last color that I had selected, which was that darker burnt orange or whatever it looks like here. And if we make it, you can see that it is attached the way I wanted it, as it, it is laid out the way I had it arranged, but there are these cut lines versus the yellow layer where there's no cut lines. So that's what attach can do. It can keep things as you have it arranged on the mat, but it does assume you want them in the same color. It can also help maintain the arrangement of things on the mat, keeps cut lines, so you must weld things into one layer. So you have something like this with no cut layers between versus that. Cancel this, and let's talk about flatten. So let's just delete this little element here. Now flatten is basically for only for print then cut. So this has some options. Let's throw in a star here again, make that a little bigger, change the color. And we might do a few more features. Oh, so we have the welcome highlighted, and I want to bring it onto the star. And here we can show you arrange. So I want it to click arrange, bring that welcome forward. So move forward, and change the color so it looks a little more vivid, better for you and me. Now I kind of want to cut this out. So we'll join these two together and slice them. So there's my slice. I can hide that cutout welcome and maybe even just delete this other. Where are you? There we go. Now with flatten, let's insert an image that will be really printable. Oh, I just love this tree of life right here. So I insert that image, and you can see that it appears on my little palette down below. If I didn't want it, I would hit the X and it would disappear and I couldn't insert the image, but let's select it again, insert images, and then work with that. So I can manipulate this. This has like 6 different layers. And select the tree and shrink it down. You can see I am using that little size option. In the upper ribbon of control. Well, this tree might be a little too busy to cut, right? Especially at that size. This, what is it? 1.4 square inches. Let's make this just a little bigger. Okay, so now I have these 2 items selected. Let's say I wanted to make this like a door sign, where I want to cut out the star and the letters will be cut out, but I don't want to do all the weeding and preparation with vinyl. So I just kind of want to print that image. So this is where flatten will come into play. And we'll select these 2 and flatten. And we'll take a look at what that looks like. So here is the layer that is flatten. it is a cut and then print. And so let's see what that looks like. It'll be the only thing we see in our Make It because everything else is hidden, all the other layers. So here it is. What will happen is you will print on your printer a page that will have a green star, this welcome, you know, all this printout right here that is green. It'll also print this registration square so that then you take the page, slap it onto your Cricut cutting mat, and your Cricut cutter will register that the square begins the design inside, and then it will cut the star and the welcome. So that's what Flatten can do. Bring back welcome. So Contour simply removes cut lines within a single layer. So let's say you didn't want that O, the center of the O in welcome. So find that cut line, that contour, select it to hide the contour, hit the X on the hide contour box, and there that contour is removed. Now let's say perhaps you wanted to insert a heart in place of that. And we can use a little cutting, a little cookie cutter option with slice. Top that in there. Select the two layers and slice. And instead of a boring old circle, we have a heart in that shape. So there you have it. We have gone over slice, weld, attach, flatten, and contour, along with a lot of the basics in this Cricut Design Space tutorial for you to get a basic design and cut it out at your home studio or the library for free. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. My name is Erica, and you can find me at the Southeast Steuben County Library website, ssclibrary.org. I am the outreach coordinator. I love to hear programs, ideas, and requests from our community members, especially. I look forward to seeing you next time, where we will take a look at some future projects and what we can do with Cricut Design Space. Thanks a lot and take care.